Hi everybody, I'm Greg Fishel. Welcome to the Monday edition of the bonus weather video number 1 for the week. And I thought it might be interesting to take a look at some interesting stats about 90-degree day climatology, because if you only look at one site, you might be tempted to come to an overall different conclusion about what's going on with the North Carolina climate, at least as it relates to heat. So let me go on ahead and put myself down here in the corner and we shall proceed. Now, first of all, some interesting stats. I took a look at 3 different sites: Raleigh-Durham, the Greensboro Airport, and the Charlotte Airport, okay? So the earliest occurrence of 90 degrees at RDU is March 12th of 1990. Now, the earliest occurrence of 90 at both Greensboro and Charlotte was on the same day, March 17th of 1945. So you see that RDU has about a 5-day lead on both of those sites. Now, the latest occurrence of 90 at RDU was October 10th of 2017, and at Greensboro and Charlotte, again, the date's identical there, 1 day earlier at October 9th of 2007. All right, now the greatest number of days at or above 90 at RDU, 91 back in the year 2010. But look at Greensboro. In the same year, they had 24 less days at or above 90. So that tells you something, that there's clearly a problem here at RDU, I think, at least as it relates to comparing it to Greensboro. But if you take a look at Charlotte, they hit 87. They had 87 days at or above 90 in 2010. So either both RDU and Charlotte are both not cited properly, or in fact, I really don't know of another explanation other than that. It just seems like a 24-day difference. And yes, Greensboro has a higher elevation above sea level by a little bit, but not to justify that, okay? That's pretty significant difference. Now, the least number of days at or above 90 at RDU is 15, set back in 1972 and 1969. At Greensboro, it was in 1971, and the least number of days at Charlotte, 8, back in 1967. And if you look at the overall record, and I'll show you this in just a second, there is a little bit of a cyclical nature to the amount of heat, or the number of 90-degree days that goes on over the past, from 1945 until now is 80 years. Okay, so here is a graph of the number of days at or above 90 at RDU from 1945 to 2023. And just eyeballing it, you can sort of see here how there's a downward trend until the earlier mid-70s, and then it's been ramping up pretty much ever since that. Now, this is a linear trend line, okay? If you simply draw a line through that graph and you have as much area above it as you do below it, this is what you get. And so it goes from an average of about 34, maybe 33 days back in 1945 to now into the 50s at the current time. But if you do something called a polynomial, which is a slightly more robust graph that tries to pick out trends over periods of time that are shorter than the entire period of time, then you see this decrease here going into the 70s, and then an increase, and then it levels off a little bit, and then it increases again. And this is what the satellite record is actually showing, is that we're sort of going up in a stair-step method, okay? That we go up, we level off, we go up, we level off. And it sort of makes sense in the sense that if you have natural variability, let's say you have a sine wave that goes like this, okay? And then you impose upon that an overall increase, okay, in the temperatures, then when you add those two functions together, you actually do get a stair step. When they're both going up, the graph goes up, and when one's going up and one's going down, then it levels off, okay? So this isn't actually all that terribly unexpected from what you would expect just using common sense. Now, here's Greensboro. Now, obviously, that looks a lot different, doesn't it? I mean, again, the maximum number of days at or above 90 in any season is 24 less than RDU. The linear trend line basically shows nothing over that entire period. And if you do the polynomial method, you again, see maybe a little bit of a cyclical nature there to it, but not much. It's not a clear signal at all. Now, here's Charlotte, and again, those numbers are, significantly higher than they are at Greensboro. There's the linear trend line going from like maybe 41, 42 up to about 50. And if you do the polynomial, again, you do get a stronger signal of the cyclical nature of the distribution of heat, where goes down a little bit, actually bottoms out a little bit later than the one at RDU does. It bottoms out in the early 80s and then increases, and there's some indication that it may be leveling off right now. So these are three what we call ASOS stations. These are automated surface observing stations sited at these various airports. And I wanted to show you one of the rural locations just to show you that it doesn't show anything all that terribly different. But the problem is that a lot of these rural stations are missing significant number of days during the period of record, and they don't span this entire period from 1945 to 2023. At the National Center for Environmental Information, NCEI, I think they have access, pretty sure they have access to more stations than I do using the tools that I have. And again, I want to assure you that when they see outliers, when they see things that are just completely out of whack, they do throw that out. But even when doing that, the long-term climate record still shows an increase, although there is a cyclical nature to it. In other words, it may go up a little bit, may level off a little bit, may go up a little bit. So if I was an advocate, like in other words, if I wasn't just reporting science and I wanted to prove to you that global warming was a real thing, I could use that RDU record and say, boy, it's clear as day there. But the thing about it is, you got to look at all the different circumstances. I think some of it is due to climate change, but there's a good part of it that's also due to the fact that the RDU airport is not the same animal now that it was back in 1945, okay? There's a lot more tarmac, there's a lot more building up around that area, and so that's going to contribute, and then you tack on top of that the fact that they've more or less admitted the siting of the instrumentation is terrible, and once they get the new runway done, then they're going to move it to a location that meets the World Meteorological Organization standards. So those three factors are all contributing to that increase. You can't blame only just one of those three. You have to look at the whole spectrum of possibilities. Okay, that is it for now. Ooh, I forgot to take that out. Let me just go back there and end there. Okay, that was from Friday. That is the bonus weather video for this Monday. Hope you found that at least somewhat interesting. We will be back with another bonus weather video on Wednesday and the next daily weather update coming up tomorrow. And I posted this at the bottom of the daily weather update. As soon as I recorded that and posted it, the tornado watch was canceled for just about all of our area. It only extends now, or only exists way down east. So don't have to worry about that anymore tonight. That's good news. All right, folks, that's it for now. You have a great Monday evening, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow. See you later.